Welcome to Wisdom and Wealth, a channel dedicated to helping you unlock your potential and live a richer, more fulfilling life, both internally and externally. I'm excited to share some powerful insights today that can transform how you see yourself and the world around you, especially for those of us seasoned with a little life experience. But first, if you enjoy this content and want to explore more wisdom and practical strategies for a richer life, please consider subscribing to the Wisdom and Wealth channel. We're building a community dedicated to growth, peace, and prosperity. I promise you won't regret it. What happens when you finally, truly stop negotiating with your own value? I'm not talking about repeating hollow affirmations, but about awakening to a core truth that settles deep into your bones: you are worthy, without condition. It's a profound shift that many of us spend our lives unknowingly avoiding. Too often, we live beneath that truth, trading our peace for fleeting approval. We forgive people who repeatedly break our trust. We accept crumbs of kindness, mistaking them for a full meal. We diminish ourselves to fit into spaces that were never meant for us. But it doesn't have to be this way. In Buddhism, there's a pivotal shift, a quiet yet irreversible turning point where you stop chasing validation and start making conscious choices rooted in self-respect. And when this happens, life itself begins to respond differently. It's about aligning your inner beliefs with your outer actions, creating a ripple effect that transforms your relationships, career, and overall well-being. Stick with me, because towards the end of this video, I'll share a powerful bonus habit that can permanently rewire your sense of self-worth. It's a simple practice that can make a profound difference in how you navigate your daily life and make decisions that honor your true value. Before we dive into our first point, please subscribe to the Wisdom and Wealth channel for more content that's designed to help you navigate the complexities of life with greater clarity, confidence, and inner peace. This is content created for thoughtful people who desire a well-rounded life. 1. The silent currency of life. If your self-worth were written in invisible ink, what story would it leave across the pages of your days? It's a powerful question to ponder, because the world has a quiet way of reading it, even when you think no one is watching. The world, in essence, becomes a mirror reflecting back what you believe you deserve. These aren't just poetic words, they are a fundamental truth that subtly shapes every interaction, every choice, every unseen ripple of your life. Understanding this is the first step in reclaiming your inherent worth. Your self-worth is like the fragrance of a flower. No one can physically touch it, yet it profoundly changes the way the world approaches you. When a flower releases its scent, bees are drawn to it, arriving without the flower needing to call for them. In the same way, when you carry the fragrance of self-respect, you don't have to desperately chase acceptance or validation. It comes to you naturally, effortlessly. Picture this: you walk into a room, carrying nothing but a quiet certainty, no elaborate performance, no forced smile, no desperate need to be liked. Only the steady, grounded knowing that you are enough, just as you are. Watch closely, even in your mind's eye, and observe how people's eyes subtly shift towards you, how their words soften, how the room bends subtly around your presence. This is the power of valuing yourself. But when self-worth is neglected, we unconsciously send a different signal, one that tells the world we are willing to settle for less. That's when life offers us crumbs instead of a feast, not because life is inherently cruel, but because we have silently agreed to this diminished expectation. How many times have you said yes when your heart was begging you to say no? How often have you tolerated words or actions that left you feeling smaller, less significant? Remember, Buddhism teaches that all things arise from the mind. The way you value yourself is not arrogance, it is, in fact, mindfulness in action. It's the recognition that your time, your energy, your presence are sacred, not to be squandered on things or people that diminish you. When you honor these intrinsic values, you align with the fundamental truth that every being possesses inherent worth. And in that alignment, the outer world starts to reflect the respect you give yourself. So, pause for a moment and ask yourself, what silent message does your presence send before you even speak a word? Does it say, I am worthy of peace, kindness, and love? Or does it whisper, I will accept whatever is given to me, no matter the cost to my well-being. Remember, you ultimately teach others how to treat you by the way you treat yourself. The shift towards a richer, more fulfilling life begins the moment you stop bargaining with your own soul. The day you consciously decide to value yourself is the day your relationships begin to transform, your boundaries strengthen, and your inner peace grows deep and enduring roots. This, my friends, is the silent currency of life. It requires no grand announcement, only consistent and mindful practice. When you finally, truly value yourself, you stop chasing seats at tables you've outgrown. You rise, and in doing so, the world rises with you. 2. The chain between craving and settling. Why does wanting something too much often make it slip away from our grasp? At first glance, it seems unfair, almost as if life is deliberately withholding what you've worked so hard to achieve. But beneath this surface frustration lies a quieter, more profound truth. Desire without wisdom can easily lead to self-abandonment. When the heart burns with unbalanced craving, it stops listening to what truly serves it and begins bargaining with its own dignity just to hold on, just for a fleeting moment. It's like gripping a bird too tightly in your hand. Before we continue, if you're finding value in this discussion, please take a moment to like this video. Your engagement really helps us to reach a wider audience. You hope to keep it close, to protect it, but the very pressure of your hands harms the very thing you wanted to protect. Or imagine the simple act of holding water in your palms. At first, it rests there, cool and clear, a precious gift. But the moment you clench your fingers, trying desperately to contain it, it slips away through the smallest spaces, leaving you with nothing. In this way, our deep fear of losing can paradoxically become the very reason we lose. When we want someone's love, approval, or opportunities so badly, we often unconsciously start bending ourselves into shapes that don't truly fit who we are at our core. We tolerate behaviors we shouldn't, we chase when silence would ultimately serve us better. Without even realizing it, we start trading away our peace, our values, and our self-respect for the mere chance of keeping what we desire. But Buddhism teaches that attachment is not love, and craving is certainly not care. True value, whether of oneself or others, can only genuinely grow in the space where freedom and mutual respect are ever present. When we cling, we inevitably create suffering because clinging, in its essence, says, I am not enough without this external thing. But valuing yourself says, I am already whole and complete, and I will share that wholeness with what complements it, not what consumes it. So, ask yourself, where in your life have you held on so tightly that you unknowingly lost yourself in the process? Was it in a relationship where silence felt safer than speaking your truth, where you sacrificed your authentic voice for the sake of maintaining the peace? Was it in a job that slowly drained you, leaving you feeling empty and unfulfilled, simply because leaving felt too risky, too uncertain? Or perhaps it was in the adherence to an image of who you thought you had to be, long after it stopped feeling authentically like you? If you loosen your grip, you do not necessarily lose everything. You simply stop crushing it, you allow what is meant for you to stay, not because you trapped it, but because it freely chooses to remain. And what is not meant for you, you allow to drift away without making your inherent worth the high cost of keeping it. The chain between craving and settling is broken the moment you make the unwavering decision that nothing is worth abandoning yourself for. When you stand in that quiet power, life begins to meet you with the same unwavering energy. You stop chasing and you start attracting. You stop gripping and you start receiving. And in that spaciousness, your self-worth finally has the chance to breathe, to flourish, to truly set you free. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this so far. If you're not quite sure what to say, simply type, "My worth sets me free," in the comments. 3. Detachment as self-respect. Could walking away be the highest expression of love for yourself? We often mistakenly think that holding on, clinging, shows strength and commitment, but sometimes it's in the quiet, deliberate act of letting go that we reclaim our deepest and most authentic power. When you intentionally let go of things that no longer serve you, you invite what is truly meant for you to gracefully enter and remain. Letting go is not abandonment, it is, in fact, an act of deep trust, both in yourself and in the natural flow of life. Before we continue, if you're enjoying this content, please take a moment to subscribe to the Wisdom and Wealth channel. Your support really helps us to reach a wider audience and continue to share meaningful insights like these. It's like releasing a kite into the wind. You don't chase it through fields, desperately trying to control its every move, or forcibly pull it back down to earth. You simply watch as it rises, gracefully soaring on the wind, trusting that if it is truly meant to be yours, it will circle back without you having to pull the string too hard. The same holds true with people, opportunities, and dreams. When we release the tight grip of fear, we create the necessary space for what is real, what is authentic, to breathe and truly remain. Imagine placing a heavy stone down after years of unnecessarily carrying it around. At first, you almost miss its familiar weight, because you've grown so accustomed to it, it's become a part of your daily routine. But then, something profound shifts within you. You feel your shoulders relax, your breath deepens, and a sense of lightness spreads throughout your entire being. This is the well-deserved relief that comes when you finally stop trying to prove your worth by holding on to things that ultimately drain you of your energy, your peace, and your very essence. Too often, we carry relationships, responsibilities, or expectations far past their natural expiration date, not because they still nourish us, but because we wrongly believe that letting go would somehow signify failure. Buddhism teaches that clinging is a root cause of suffering, and detachment, in its truest form, is not coldness or indifference. It is, in fact, clarity. It is seeing what no longer aligns with your inner peace and having the courage to step back without resentment or guilt. Ask yourself this difficult question: what heavy thing have you been carrying, simply to prove your worth to others or even to yourself? Is it a friendship that no longer feels mutual, a constant drain on your emotional resources? Is it a career path that keeps dimming your spirit, a constant source of dissatisfaction and stress? Or is it a carefully constructed version of yourself that exists solely to keep others comfortable, even at the expense of your own well-being? When you see clearly, with compassionate honesty, you realize that some burdens are not badges of honor, they are, in fact, clear signs that you have forgotten your own innate and irreplaceable value. Detachment as self-respect is the unwavering decision to honor your own well-being over the fleeting comfort of the familiar. It says, "I will no longer shrink myself to keep something or someone that requires my suffering to survive." It is not an act of rejection towards others, it is, at its core, an act of radical acceptance towards yourself. And here is the ultimate truth: when you let go with love and compassion, what is truly meant for you will not vanish into thin air. It will remain, or it will return, not because you begged for it, but because it organically belongs in the space where your self-worth naturally lives. Sometimes, the most powerful step you can take towards truly valuing yourself is the quiet walk away, not out of anger or resentment, but out of a deep and unwavering devotion to your own peace, to your authentic truth, and to the lightness you were always meant to carry through this life. 4. The thin line between humility and disappearing. When does kindness unknowingly turn into self-erasure? There is a delicate and almost invisible line between genuine humility and completely disappearing, and many people cross it without even realizing they've done so. To be genuinely humble does not mean to vanish, to make yourself smaller, less visible. True humility is a gentle light that shines from the heart. Before we continue, if you're finding value in this discussion, please take a moment to like this video. Your engagement really helps us to reach a wider audience and spread this important message. But disappearing is a dark shadow cast by fear, by the quiet but persistent belief that your needs are somehow less important, less valid, than everyone else's. It's like meticulously watering every plant in the garden except your own. The flowers around you bloom brightly, thriving in your care, but your own soil dries and cracks, leaving you feeling depleted and neglected. At first, you may even think this is noble, that your self-sacrifice is what keeps the garden alive and vibrant. But in truth, a garden where you neglect your own roots is ultimately incomplete, because your unique presence is an essential part of its overall beauty and harmony. Imagine yourself standing in a crowd, your voice soft but undeniably clear, your presence grounded and unshaken. You are not loud or attention-seeking, yet you are also not lost or invisible. You contribute your unique gifts without collapsing into self-effacement. This is the delicate balance that true humility asks of you, to honor others without abandoning yourself in the process. When you mistakenly confuse humility with self-erasure, you start saying yes to things that drain you, simply to keep the peace, to avoid conflict or discomfort. You downplay your achievements and talents so that no one feels threatened or insecure in your presence. You silence your own truth, your own authentic voice, so that others can remain comfortable, unchallenged. And slowly, subtly, you begin to believe the false narrative that being good somehow means being small, diminishing yourself to fit into other people's expectations. But Buddhism teaches the importance of the middle path, not leaning too far into pride or arrogance, nor falling into self-neglect and oblivion. To genuinely value yourself is not to stand above others, looking down with a sense of superiority, but to stand alongside them as an equal, respecting their inherent worth as well as your own. True humility is grounded, rooted in self-respect. It bows with genuine respect and compassion, but it does not kneel in self-denial, sacrificing your own well-being for the sake of others' comfort. Ask yourself honestly, where have you mistakenly equated silence with virtue? Where have you allowed your own voice to be stifled in the name of being nice? Was it in a moment where you swallowed your own truth to avoid conflict, sacrificing your authenticity for the sake of maintaining a fragile peace? Or when you consistently let someone else's needs override your own, even when it cost you your own inner peace and well-being? When was the last time you consciously chose yourself over pleasing others, and how did that choice feel in your body, in your spirit? Choosing yourself does not mean you stop giving to others. It simply means you give from a place of fullness, not depletion. It means your kindness is rooted in strength and self-respect, not in the desperate hope of being accepted or validated. When you truly value yourself, you understand that your voice, your needs, and your dreams are not interruptions or inconveniences. They are, in fact, an integral part of the overall harmony. There is a quiet but powerful strength in being humble yet visible, gentle yet unshaken, kind yet assertive. The world needs your unique light, not your carefully constructed absence. And when you honor your own worth while simultaneously honoring others, you create a balanced ecosystem that nourishes everyone, including yourself. Remember, disappearing is not humility. True humility allows you to remain fully present, to keep your own soil watered, and to bloom vibrantly alongside every other flower in the garden of life. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this so far. If you're not quite sure what to say, simply type, "My worth sets me free," in the comments. 5. Stop bargaining with your soul. How many times have you silently traded your inner peace for someone else's approval? It's often a quiet exchange, so subtle that you may not even notice it happening until the weight of it starts pressing heavily on your spirit. Every time you lower your own perceived value, even just a little bit, the world, unfortunately, believes you. The world does not argue with the price you set for yourself, it simply pays it, often willingly. It's like trying to sell gold for the price of clay. You may mistakenly think you are being reasonable, accommodating, or kind, but in truth, you are giving away something incredibly rare and precious for far less than it's actually worth. And once this pattern takes root, others will rarely question it. They will simply adapt to it, taking advantage of the undervalued resource. You, however, will feel the hidden cost in every corner of your being, in every relationship, in every interaction. Picture yourself holding a rare gem delicately in your hands. You lift it to the light, watching the way it catches and reflects every ray, creating a breathtaking display of color and brilliance. Notice how it shines, whether anyone else notices or not. This is your inherent worth, unchanging by outside recognition, unaltered by the shifting moods of the world. The gem does not beg to be valued, it simply exists, radiating its own intrinsic beauty. When you bargain with your soul, you unconsciously silence your own needs to keep the peace, you shrink your own boundaries so that others can expand theirs, you downplay your abilities and accomplishments so that no one feels threatened or insecure. But each of these trades chips away at your own self-respect, until you start believing the deeply discounted version of yourself you've been so willingly selling. Buddhism teaches that all suffering ultimately begins in the mind. If your mind believes that you are somehow less than you truly are, the world will inevitably echo that distorted belief back to you. To truly value yourself is to practice right view, seeing yourself clearly, without the distortion of fear or insecurity. It's the recognition that your life is not meant to be sold at a bargain price. Ask yourself honestly, what aspects of yourself have you been underpricing? Is it your valuable time, given freely to people who never reciprocate, who take and take without ever offering anything in return? Is it your authentic voice, kept quiet so as not to disturb the fragile comfort of others? Or is it your long-cherished dreams, shelved in the name of being practical, of conforming to societal expectations? And, perhaps most importantly, who ultimately benefits from you not fully knowing your own worth? To stop bargaining with your soul, you must first firmly believe that it is, in fact, priceless, beyond any monetary or material value. This may mean setting boundaries that disappoint others, speaking truths that unsettle them, and choosing paths that might confuse them. It is not rebellion, it is, in its essence, alignment with your true self. When you stop lowering your value, you fundamentally change the way life meets you. Opportunities start to shift, relationships either deepen or dissolve, and the distracting noise around you gradually grows quieter. And in that newfound quiet, your true worth speaks for itself, radiating with an undeniable power. Remember, the rare gem you carry was never meant to be traded for clay. Hold it, honor it, let it shine brightly, whether or not the world claps its hands in applause. This is the unshakable power of valuing yourself, the power to transform your life from the inside out. 6. The power of quiet standards. What if the most impactful boundaries are the ones you never even need to speak aloud? Not every act of self-respect needs to be loudly declared. Some are lived so consistently, so authentically, that the world learns them simply through observation, without you needing to utter a single word. You ultimately teach others how to treat you by the way you treat yourself. The way you choose to rise in the morning, the conscious choices you make about where to allocate your precious time, the energy you actively protect from being depleted. These quiet, consistent acts send the clearest messages to the world around you. It's like a strong and resilient tree that bends gracefully in the wind, only so far before it firmly stands upright again. The wind eventually learns the shape of the tree's limits, and over time, it no longer tries to push it further, understanding the futility of such an attempt. In the same way, when you stand firmly in your inherent worth, life begins to adapt to your strength, rather than constantly testing it, probing for weaknesses. Imagine drawing a circle of calm, radiant light around yourself, a protective shield of self-respect. It is not a wall that keeps people out, but an invisible boundary that makes it clear that only those who truly respect the space within are welcome to enter. You do not need to explain this circle, defend it, or apologize for its existence. It exists simply because you have made the conscious choice to honor your own inner peace and well-being. Those who genuinely love and care for you will instinctively feel it and cherish it, respecting your boundaries without question. Those who do not will either gradually learn to respect your space or they will naturally drift away. These quiet standards are built in the smallest, most consistent moments, in the way you say no, without feeling the need to justify or apologize, in the way you consciously remove yourself from conversations that drain you of your energy, and in the way you consistently keep your commitments to yourself, even when no one else is watching. Each of these seemingly small choices teaches others what is acceptable in your presence and what is not. Buddhism reminds us that self-respect is not a combative fight against the world, it is, in fact, harmony with truth. A boundary is not intended as a punishment for others, it is a loving protection for your own heart. When set with compassion and clarity, it does not close people out entirely, it invites the right ones in, creating a space of mutual respect and understanding. Ask yourself, where in your life do you need to redraw your circle, to reinforce your boundaries? Is it in your relationships, where patterns of disrespect have been allowed to repeat unchecked, eroding your sense of self-worth? Is it in your work, where your time and energy have been treated as if they were endless resources, with little regard for your well-being? Or is it in your own personal habits, where you have crossed your own lines so many times that you've almost lost count, allowing self-neglect to become the norm? When you consciously redraw the circle of your boundaries, expect some initial discomfort, not because you are somehow wrong or unreasonable, but because you are actively changing the unspoken agreements that once allowed your peace to be broken. Over time, this discomfort fades, replaced by a profound sense of clarity. You realize that you are simply no longer available for things that deplete you, for people who disrespect you, for situations that compromise your well-being. The true power of quiet standards is that they do not require external approval to exist. You simply live them authentically, and they naturally shape your world, attracting what is aligned with your worth and gently repelling what is not. And when your life is built on such silent strength, you stop chasing after respect, because you already carry it within you, radiating outwards. 7. When saying no opens doors. Why does refusing the wrong thing often bring the right thing faster? At first glance, saying no can feel like closing yourself off from the abundance of life, as if opportunities might suddenly dry up if you dare to turn even one away. But the deeper truth is that in every intentional no, a more profound yes is hidden, waiting to be discovered. A no is not necessarily an ending, it is, in fact, the deliberate clearing of space for what is truly aligned with your unique path to gracefully arrive. It's like meticulously pruning a tree so that the healthiest branches can grow stronger and bear more fruit. The act itself may look somewhat harsh from the outside, but it is ultimately an act of deep care and intentionality. Without it, the tree wastes its precious energy feeding what will never truly flourish, preventing the potential for abundance. And so it is with our lives. When we keep saying yes to things that drain us, we inadvertently starve the very parts of ourselves that are meant to flourish, to thrive, to bring joy and fulfillment. See yourself gently closing a door, not in anger or haste, but with full awareness, with a clear understanding of your own needs and boundaries. And as you step back from that closed door, you notice another door nearby, bathed in a soft, inviting light, one that you hadn't even noticed before. This is the inherent magic of a mindful no. It consciously shifts your attention, your focus, to the previously overlooked possibilities that have always been there, waiting for you to recognize them. Saying no is, in essence, an act of valuing yourself, because it protects your valuable energy, your precious time, and your inner peace from being scattered in places where they cannot possibly grow, where they will only wither and fade. Every yes you give is a seed that you plant. If you scatter them carelessly, without intention, the soil may be barren, unable to support their growth. But when you consciously choose where they go, nurturing them with intention and care, the resulting harvest transforms entirely, becoming abundant and nourishing. Buddhism teaches us the importance of right effort, of consciously directing our energy towards what genuinely nourishes our well-being and the well-being of others. Right effort requires discernment. It asks you to pause, to reflect, and ask yourself, does this truly serve my path, or does it subtly pull me away from it, diverting my energy towards something less fulfilling? Without this necessary pause, we end up inadvertently trading our deepest, most authentic yes for shallow, short-term comfort, settling for less than we truly deserve. So, what in your life needs pruning? What commitments or relationships are hindering your growth? Is it the constant stream of commitments that leave you feeling too exhausted to focus on what truly matters to you, preventing you from pursuing your passions? Is it the relationships that demand you shrink yourself, diminish your own light, so that they can grow unchecked, unchallenged? Or is it the ingrained inner habit of saying yes to avoid the discomfort of disappointing others, even when it comes at the expense of your own well-being? And what new possibilities could grow, what new doors could open, if you stopped feeding what drains you? Perhaps a long-forgotten passion would bloom again, filling your life with renewed joy and purpose. Perhaps your health, both mental and physical, would strengthen and revitalize, allowing you to live with greater energy and vitality. Or perhaps space would open for new people, new opportunities, and new insights that truly align with your core values, enriching your life in unexpected ways. Saying no is not rejection, it is, in fact, redirection. It is telling life, I will no longer settle for less than what truly nourishes me. And when you stand firmly in that truth, you find that the right doors open more easily, more effortlessly, because they are naturally drawn to the space you've intentionally made for them. In every no, there is a resounding yes to your own inherent worth, to your own inner peace, and to the life you are truly meant to live fully and authentically. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this so far. If you're not quite sure what to say, simply type, "My worth sets me free," in the comments. 8. The sacred pause before accepting less. What would truly happen if you stopped for just a moment and genuinely asked yourself, does this choice truly honor me? In a world that moves at an increasingly frenetic pace, the temptation to accept whatever comes first can feel almost irresistible. But the space you allow is precisely the space that life will ultimately fill. If you rush to fill that space with something less than you deserve, you may never even see what was genuinely meant to arrive, the perfect fit that was patiently waiting for you to recognize it. It's like a beautiful bowl, waiting to be filled with pure, clean water. If you impatiently pour in mud just to stop it from being empty, you lose the opportunity to receive something truly precious, something that could nourish and sustain you. The emptiness itself is not the enemy, it is, in fact, an invitation, a chance to receive something better. In the same way, your pauses, your hesitations, your moments of thoughtful waiting are not wasted time, they are the fertile ground where the right opportunities can take root and flourish. Imagine yourself standing in a vast, still field. The air is quiet, the horizon stretches endlessly before you. There is no need to move, no need to rush, until the right wind arrives to gently guide your steps, showing you the clearest path forward. This is the sacred pause, the conscious decision not to act until the choice before you truly reflects your own inherent worth. Too often, we mistakenly equate stillness with stagnation. We say yes to jobs, relationships, or opportunities simply to escape the discomfort of waiting, of uncertainty. Yet each rushed acceptance is a silent message to life, subtly communicating, I will take less than I deserve if it arrives quickly, if it saves me from the anxiety of the unknown. And life, always listening and responding, will inevitably offer you more of the same less than you deserve. Buddhism teaches the invaluable importance of mindfulness, not just in thought, but in action. Mindfulness is the art of waiting for true alignment, not just for any movement. It is trusting that the right offering will inevitably arrive when the conditions are right, and that your role is to keep your own bowl clean and ready, prepared to receive what is meant for you. Ask yourself, where do you tend to rush to fill the silence? What discomfort do you avoid by immediately saying yes? Is it in your relationships, fearing that solitude might somehow mean loneliness? Is it in your work, chasing after endless tasks to avoid the underlying discomfort of uncertainty? Or is it in your self-image, constantly trying to appear complete and perfect before you truly feel it within? What potential benefits could patience bring instead? Perhaps deeper, more meaningful connections with others because you thoughtfully chose only those relationships that truly resonate with your authentic self. Perhaps more fulfilling work, because you patiently waited for the role that genuinely respects your skills, your values, and your overall well-being. Or perhaps a gentler, more compassionate relationship with yourself, because you gave yourself the grace to grow at your own pace before leaping forward, embracing self-acceptance instead of constant striving. The sacred pause is not about simply doing nothing, it is about intentionally creating the space for the right opportunities to effortlessly find you. It's about valuing your energy so deeply that you respectfully refuse to waste it on things that do not truly nourish you. When you can stand comfortably in the stillness, without frantically grasping for something less than you deserve, life has the room to send what is genuinely meant for you. And when it finally arrives, it will not just fill your hands, it will fill your heart, aligning your outer world with your inner values. 9. The mirror of relationships. What if every person in your life is, in some way, showing you your own self-worth? The people we allow to be close to us, the treatment we accept from them, the words we tolerate, all of these things subtly mirror back the beliefs we hold, consciously or unconsciously, about ourselves. You only truly accept the love that you believe you deserve, nothing more, nothing less. Relationships are not just casual connections, they are powerful reflections, revealing both the places where we deeply honor ourselves and the places where we have, perhaps unknowingly, forgotten our own inherent value. It's like a mirror that reflects not just your physical face but also your inner beliefs, your self-perceptions. When your belief in your own worth is strong and unwavering, the reflection shines back with respect, kindness, and genuine care. When it is clouded with doubt, self-criticism, or insecurity, the reflection may manifest as neglect, criticism, or imbalance. And if we are not mindful, we may start to believe that this distorted image is the ultimate truth, forgetting the power we have to change the reflection by changing our own inner beliefs. Picture yourself standing before a calm lake. Its surface is still and waiting, perfectly reflecting the world around it. As you look into the water, what do you see looking back at you? Is it someone standing tall, with open shoulders and eyes filled with quiet strength and self-assurance? Or is it someone avoiding their own gaze, unsure of what they truly deserve, hesitant to take up space? The lake does not lie, it simply mirrors what you bring to it, reflecting your own inner state back to you. Every relationship, from the closest bond to the briefest interaction, is part of this mirror, offering glimpses into your own self-perception. The friend who consistently encourages you, celebrating your successes and supporting you through challenges, may be reflecting the part of you that truly believes in your own dreams and capabilities. The partner who consistently takes more than they give, leaving you feeling drained and unappreciated, may be reflecting the part of you that secretly fears speaking your own needs, believing you are somehow undeserving of equal care. The colleague who respects your boundaries, honoring your time and energy, reflects the part of yourself that stands firmly in those boundaries, refusing to compromise your own well-being. Buddhism teaches the profound concept of interdependence, the understanding that we are all interconnected, and that through these connections, we come to know ourselves more deeply. Relationships, therefore, are the fertile ground where our inner truth is tested, challenged, and ultimately revealed. They show us not just who others are, but who we fundamentally believe ourselves to be in their presence. Ask yourself this important question: who in your life reflects your highest self, who sees you as whole, capable, and worthy without any conditions, and who, conversely, reflects the parts of you that still doubt, that still settle for less, that still seek permission to take up space? Both reflections are valuable teachers, one showing you what to grow, what to nurture, and the other showing you what to heal, what to release. To genuinely value yourself is to curate the mirrors you choose to keep close, surrounding yourself with reflections that uplift and empower you. It is to gently step away from the ones that distort your image, that subtly diminish your sense of self-worth, and to deliberately lean into the ones that remind you of your own inner light. This does not necessarily mean cutting others out of your life with anger or resentment, it simply means adjusting the distance, ensuring that your own reflection stays true and clear. When your self-worth deepens, the reflections around you naturally begin to change. The water becomes clearer, the mirrors become kinder, and the love you receive begins to align with the love you have learned to give yourself. And in that clear reflection, you finally recognize the profound truth that you were always worthy, you were always enough, releasing the need to constantly prove your value to the world. 10. Releasing the need to prove. What if the very moment you stop trying so hard to prove yourself is the moment you truly win? From a young age, the world teaches us to chase validation, to gather applause, approval, and acknowledgement as if our worth somehow depends on it, as if external recognition is the ultimate measure of our success. Yet the deeper truth is that needing to prove yourself is ultimately like trying to hold water in your bare hands. No matter how tightly you grasp, it always slips away, leaving you feeling empty and unfulfilled. But silence is the ultimate proof of truly knowing yourself. When you genuinely know who you are at your core, you no longer feel the incessant need to explain it to anyone else. It's like a mountain, unmoved by the shifting tides of praise or criticism. A mountain does not shrink when clouds obscure its peak, nor does it grow taller when the sun shines brightly upon it. It simply remains, rooted in its own essential nature, impervious to external influences. When we live in this way, anchored in our own self-worth, external voices gradually lose their power to sway us. Compliments no longer inflate our egos, and insults no longer diminish our spirits. We stand grounded in the quiet strength of our own being, knowing that we are enough, just as we are. Imagine sitting peacefully beneath a great, ancient tree while the wind gently moves through its branches. You feel the cool air on your skin, but you do not chase after it, trying to catch it or control it. It comes, it goes, and you simply remain still, present in the moment. This is the way of one who has released the need to prove their value. They do not frantically chase after what already inherently exists within them, waiting to be recognized. Buddhism teaches that the self we are trying so hard to defend or present to the world is not fixed or static, it is fluid, ever-changing, and ultimately beyond the limiting labels we cling to. When you stop struggling to prove yourself, you naturally open up the space for simply being yourself, authentically and unapologetically. That being is inherently freer, lighter, and more at peace, no longer burdened by the weight of external expectations. Consider what aspects of yourself you are still trying so hard to prove to others. Is it your intelligence, your worthiness, your strength? And, most importantly, to whom are you trying to prove these things? Often, the loudest need to prove something comes from the quietest whispers of doubt within. When we consciously heal that doubt from within, the urgent need to convince others of our value gradually dissolves, replaced by a quiet self-assurance. There is an undeniable power in walking into a room and not needing to be noticed, in simply existing without demanding attention. There is a profound freedom in letting your actions,